The auction chamber was silent except for the hum of the containment field. Rows of wealthy bidders sat behind translucent partitions, their faces hidden in shadow, their gestures betraying a strange hunger. On the center platform, inside a spherical cage of blue light, stood a woman who was not quite human. Her skin shimmered faintly, not metallic, not iridescent, but something in between, like the surface of a bubble-catching starlight. Her eyes, silver and bottomless, tracked the crowd without emotion. She was barefoot, thin, dressed in a ragged uniform that bore the faded insignia of some defunct interstellar fleet. The auctioneer, a man in a dark crimson suit, raised his voice. Lot number 47, recovered from the wreckage of the Zarathus colony. Designation, unknown. Genetic profile, 93% human, 7% unclassified xenocode. Functional, responsive, language capable. Starting bid, 10 million credits. Murmurs rippled through the hall. Some screens blinked with silent bids. Dr. Elias Corin watched from the third row, his fingers tightening around the bidding terminal. He had no interest in slaves, nor in the grotesque entertainment of the upper sectors. But he needed her. He had spent the last 9 years chasing rumors, whispers of experiments that had blurred the line between human and alien. His wife, Lena, had died trying to expose the program that created beings like the woman in the cage. Elias was determined to finish what she started. When the final bid landed at 17 million, the chamber fell silent. The auctioneer nodded toward Elias. Sold. To Dr. Corin of the Soul Institute. The cage dimmed. The woman blinked, taking her first unshielded breath in what might have been years. As the guards released her restraints, she turned her gaze toward Elias. Her voice was quiet but sharp, cutting through the sterile air. "You paid for me," she said. "Now keep your promise." Elias froze. "What promise?" Her expression did not change. "You'll remember soon enough." The arrival. The transport ride from the auction platform to Corin's outpost on Ferrus 9 took 6 hours through the black gulf of space. The station, built into the skeletal remains of a mining asteroid, was barely manned. Just Elias, his maintenance drone, and the silence of old laboratories. He led the woman, who refused to give a name, to the medical wing. "You're safe here," he said, avoiding her eyes. "I didn't buy you. I rescued you." She tilted her head. "That's what you tell yourself to feel clean." Elias sighed. "I need answers. You were found near Zarathus. My wife died there. The colony was destroyed in an experiment, an attempt to merge human and alien DNA." She nodded slowly. "Project Dawnspire." Elias's pulse quickened. "You know about it." "I am it," she said simply. "I was the final phase." He stared. The words hit like gravity returning after a long drift. Project Dawnspire had been a myth whispered among scientists and journalists, an attempt to create adaptive hybrids that could survive radiation, vacuum exposure, and hostile alien atmospheres. But no one had ever proven it existed. Till now. "What do I call you?" he asked quietly. She hesitated, then said, "Call me Sarah." Elias nodded. "Sarah. I need to understand what happened to the colony." Her eyes flickered. "If I tell you, you won't sleep again." "I haven't slept in years." To the memory core. Over the next days, Elias ran countless scans. Her cells regenerated 10 times faster than a human's. Her neural patterns showed faint echoes, like overlapping voices, as if more than one consciousness occupied the same space. When he asked about it, she said, "They stitched fragments of alien minds into me, from beings that no longer exist." Their thoughts still whisper when I dream. Despite her cold tone, there were moments when her humanity surfaced, when she stared at the stars outside the viewport with quiet longing, or when she flinched at sudden noises, as though remembering something terrible. One night, Elias found her standing in the observation deck, staring at the nebulae. "You said I made a promise," he said. "What did you mean?" She turned to him. Before they turned me into this, you came to Zarathus. You were there, you don't remember because they erased it. You promised you would free me if I survived." Elias frowned. "That's impossible. I never." She reached out, pressing her palm to his temple. A rush of static filled his vision. Images, fragmented but real. A laboratory engulfed in smoke. Lena, his wife, shouting. Soldiers dragging a glowing capsule, her capsule. And himself kneeling beside it, whispering, "If you survive this, I'll come back for you." He stumbled backward. "That can't be." "You kept your promise," Sarah said softly. "You just didn't know you already made it." 3 Ghosts of Dawnspire. The revelation tore open something in Elias. He spent hours combing through old files, encrypted drives, anything that could confirm his lost memories. What he found chilled him. A partial log of Project Dawnspire, and his own signature on a classified approval form. He had been part of it. He had authorized the creation of hybrid test subjects. And when the project went rogue, when Lena discovered the truth, she had tried to stop it. The explosion that killed her had been no accident. When he confronted Sarah, she looked neither angry nor surprised. "You were their scientist," she said. "And I was your experiment." Elias clenched his fists. "I didn't know what they were doing to you." "You did," she said quietly. "You just forgot. You asked them to erase it when the guilt became too heavy." He sank into a chair, trembling. "Then why did you want me to find you?" "Because," she said, "I need you to finish what we started, but on my terms this time. For the promise." She led him to the sublevel, a sealed chamber beneath the station, untouched since its mining days. There, she had already begun building something. A crystalline core suspended in anti-gravity, humming faintly with alien energy. Elias recognized the structure. "That's a phase field generator. It can tear a hole between dimensions." "Not a tier," Sarah corrected. "A bridge." "To what?" "To where my other half is." Elias blinked. "Your other half." "When they made me, they split my mind. Human consciousness in one vessel, alien in another. The other half was sent into deep space for containment. But without it, I'm dying. My cells will collapse within weeks." He stared at her. "You want me to bring it back?" "You promised to make me whole," she said. "You promised to free me from them." Elias swallowed hard. "And what happens if I do? What happens when you're whole again?" Sarah's expression softened. "Then I'll leave this galaxy. I'll disappear forever. But I can't do it alone." Lead the descent. Elias worked with her for days, reconstructing ancient Dawnspire schematics. As they labored, fragments of memory returned. Long nights in sterile labs, arguments with Lena, the moment he signed away his ethics for funding. He began to realize that Sarah's creation had been motivated by his desperation to save humanity from extinction. The outer colonies were dying from radiation storms. He'd wanted to create a new kind of being, adaptable, indestructible. But instead he'd made her. And now, as she walked the lab corridors barefoot, humming in languages older than Earth, he felt something both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Sarah wasn't just part alien, she was evolving. The longer she stayed near the generator, the more her body shimmered with radiant energy. On the 5th night, alarms blared. The containment field destabilized. Elias rushed to the core chamber. Sarah stood before the glowing sphere, tendrils of light curling around her arms. "I can feel her," Sarah whispered. "My other self. She's reaching back." Elias pulled her away. "The field isn't ready. You'll tear the whole station apart." She turned, eyes blazing. "You said you'd help me. Keep your promise." And then the generator ignited. 6. The rift. The chamber filled with blinding light. For a moment, Elias saw two versions of Sarah, one corporeal, one translucent, overlapping like ghost images. He heard voices, layered and ancient, speaking through her. Union incomplete. Host destabilizing. Elias staggered toward the control panel. "I can stabilize the bridge manually, but I'll need to drain power from the life support grid." Sarah looked at him. "That'll kill you." He met her gaze. "Maybe I deserve it." She shook her head. "You're not the same man who made me. Don't pay for his sins." But he ignored her and slammed the override. The lights dimmed, the walls trembled, and the void began to hum like a heartbeat. Out of the rift stepped another figure, a perfect mirror of Sarah, but darker, her form rippling with alien grace. The second Sarah looked at Elias with an almost predatory calm. "Human," she said. "You finally delivered her." The first Sarah stepped forward. "No. He freed me." Two locked eyes. Then, in a voice that was both of theirs, they said, "We must merge." 7. The merging. The station screamed as gravity warped. Elias watched as the two Sarahs reached for each other. When their hands met, a surge of energy spread through the room, a pulse that made the air vibrate like music. Light poured from their bodies, twisting into patterns that defied physics. Elias felt his memories unraveling and reforming, like the universe was rewriting itself. When the light faded, only one Sarah remained. But she was different. Taller, her skin shimmering with both human warmth and alien luminescence. Her eyes now held galaxies within them. She looked at Elias, her voice now layered with two tones. "You kept your promise." He nodded weakly. "What are you now?" "Something between what you made and what you feared." "Will you destroy us?" he asked quietly. She smiled faintly. "Destroy? Well, but humanity must stop pretending it owns creation. You reached into the void and found yourselves reflected." She walked toward the viewport, watching the stars pulse. "I will leave this galaxy, as I said. But before I go, I'll give you something back." Elias frowned. "What do you mean?" She raised a hand and suddenly, painfully, his memories flooded back in full clarity. Lena laughing, Lena dying, Lena whispering, "Forgive yourself." He fell to his knees, sobbing. Sarah knelt beside him. "You can't change the past, Elias. But you can stop others from repeating it. Tell them what happened here. Tell them what we are." And then she vanished, dissolving into light that scattered like dust among the stars. Aftermath. Weeks passed. The station drifted, half ruined but still intact. Elias sent distress signals, though part of him hoped no one would come. He spent his days cataloging everything. The project logs, his recovered memories, the energy readings from Sarah's final transformation. He called the file the Promise Archive. When rescue finally arrived, he handed over the data to the Seoul Institute and resigned his post. No one believed the full story, of course. They called it hallucinations induced by trauma. The official report said Project Dawnspire was a failed gene initiative. But sometimes when Elias looked at the night sky, he saw a streak of light move across the void faster than any ship, and he knew she was still out there. 9. The message. Years later, a transmission appeared in the deep space network, a signal with no known origin, repeating a single phrase in a voice that was both human and alien. "You paid for me. You kept your promise. Now keep it for your species." Scientists dismissed it as cosmic interference. But Elias, old and frail, listened from his observatory on Luna Prime and smiled. He understood. The signal was a warning and a gift. Embedded within its frequencies was advanced biocode, the same hybrid pattern that had made Sarah. It held the key to curing radiation sickness, to adapting humanity for survival beyond the stars. She had left them the means to endure, but only if they learned compassion first. Elias recorded one final entry in his archive. "We made her out of arrogance. She left us with mercy. If we are to evolve, we must learn what she already knew. That creation demands responsibility." He leaned back in his chair, staring at the stars one last time. Somewhere in the endless dark, a light flickered, brief, beautiful like a heartbeat. And Elias Corrin whispered, almost to himself, "Promise kept."